Welcome to Sleepy Science, a quiet corner of the cosmos where invisible things are allowed to be mysterious. Tonight's journey takes us into the unseen weight that holds the universe together. Dark matter. We cannot touch it, see it, or shine light upon it, yet it shapes everything we know. Galaxies spin because of it. The stars stay bound because of it. And still, it hides in perfect silence. Before we begin, I would love to know where you are listening from. It is humbling to imagine these calm stories drifting across so many corners of the world, all held together by the same gravity that binds the stars. If you enjoy these gentle explorations, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. And to those already here, thank you. You are helping this constellation of listeners grow, one orbit at a time. I hope this story carries you toward rest. Though fair warning, the mystery of dark matter might keep your thoughts wide awake, tracing unseen shapes in the night. If you do find yourself listening until the end, at least you will have learned something quiet and profound about the hidden structure of everything. So let us begin with a gentle question to carry. If most of the universe is invisible, then how much of reality have we yet to truly see? Close your eyes. You are floating in perfect darkness, weightless but not free. Something moves beneath thought itself, a pull so subtle you mistake it for stillness. This is gravity, not a force that pushes, not a rope that drags, but a quiet persuasion that keeps everything speaking to everything else. Breathe slowly. Inhale connection. Exhale drift. Gravity is the oldest conversation. Long before stars burned or planets cooled, the universe whispered its first syllable through attraction. Tiny ripples in the newborn sea of space drew matter together, clumping dust into clouds, clouds into stars, stars into galaxies. The cosmos began not with explosion alone, but with gathering a tender insistence that things belong together. Pause here. Reflect on how every beginning is also a meeting. We cannot see gravity. It has no color, no shimmer, no visible thread. Yet it writes the shape of everything. It bends light, sculpts orbits, carves the vast architecture of galaxies. You feel it every moment, in the pull of your body toward the earth, in the curve of the moon's path, in the way oceans rise and fall to rhythms older than memory. Even your blood, pulled downward, obeys its silent law. Breathe again. Inhale obedience. Exhale resistance. When Isaac Newton saw the apple fall, he did not discover gravity. He recognized it. The apple's drop, the moon's motion, the earth's turning, all were versions of the same invisible relationship. He called it universal gravitation. But what he named was really intimacy on a cosmic scale, everything leaning toward everything else. Pause once more. Rest in the wonder that every object in existence, no matter how distant, exerts its presence upon you. Einstein later unfolded the idea further. He showed that gravity is not a string tugging at mass, but the bending of space-time itself, matter telling space how to curve, and space telling matter how to move. Picture the universe as a soft fabric, and every planet or star a depression in that fabric. When you roll a marble nearby, it spirals inward, not because it is pulled, but because straight lines themselves have become curved. Breathe slowly. Inhale curvature. Exhale straightness. From this gentle geometry comes the grace of motion. Planets tracing ellipses. Comets falling toward the sun, satellites dancing around their hosts. It is not chaos, but choreography, an ancient ballet written in invisible ink. If the music of the spheres were ever real, gravity would be its rhythm. Reflect here. How often do you move by rules you can feel but cannot name? Step farther out. Look at the Milky Way from above, a spiral of hundreds of billions of stars bound together by gravity's patient arms. Each star orbits the galactic center once every 200 million years. You live within one small arm of that whirlpool, pulled along by a force you cannot sense, yet could never escape. The same pull holds neighboring galaxies in clusters, clusters in filaments, filaments in the cosmic web. Every structure in the universe is a story of attraction made visible. Breathe again. Inhale belonging. Exhale isolation. Yet the story deepens. When astronomers mapped how galaxies move, they found something unexpected. The visible matter, stars, gas, dust, was not enough to explain their speed. The outer stars spun too fast, as if pulled by something unseen. Thus emerged the idea of dark matter, an invisible mass that outweighs all visible stars combined, shaping the universe through gravity alone. Pause again. Rest in the realization that most of what holds you together cannot be seen. Dark matter does not glow, reflect, or absorb light. We know it only through its pull, its fingerprint, traced in the curves of galaxies and the bending of light around clusters. It may be made of particles, yet unknown, or something stranger, a property of space itself. Whatever it is, it accounts for nearly a quarter of all the universe. What shines is only the surface. What binds is hidden beneath. Breathe slowly. Inhale mystery. Exhale certainty. Go deeper still. Even gravity itself may have echoes beyond what we can measure. Waves ripple through space-time when massive objects collide. Black holes merging. Neutron stars spinning together. These gravitational waves pass through you now, stretching and squeezing reality by less than the width of an atom. You cannot feel them, but they feel you. Their discovery proved that even silence has a vibration. Reflect here. Perhaps influence does not require visibility. It only requires presence. Consider your own body. You stand upright because gravity gives you direction. Without it, your bones weaken, your balance dissolves. You sleep, eat, and walk according to this pull. The Earth's invisible hand reminding you which way is home. The same force that binds galaxies guides your every heartbeat down its vertical path. You are never separate from the universe's architecture. You are designed within it. Breathe again. Inhale alignment. Exhale drift. Gravity also holds memory. Fossils pressed into rock, rivers carving valleys, stars collapsing into black holes, all are records written by weight. Every structure, from mountains to moons, is a testament to matter learning to rest under pressure. Even the word grounded carries the echo of gravity's lesson, stability through surrender. Pause again. Rest in gratitude for the pull that teaches you where to stand. If you could turn off gravity, the world would not merely float away. It would unravel. Oceans would leap skyward. Air would vanish into space. Planets would cease their dance and wander cold and alone. The universe would lose its rhythm, its coherence. Gravity does not just hold, it gives context. Without it, nothing would know where to go. Breathe slowly. Inhale coherence, exhale chaos. Yet there is gentleness in its persistence. Gravity weakens with distance, fading with every step outward, but never reaching zero. Even at the edge of the observable universe, galaxies still lean toward one another, ever so slightly. The cosmos remains a net of subtle sympathy. Reflect once more. Maybe connection need not be strong to be eternal. Scientists speak of escape, velocity, the speed needed to break free from a planet's pull. For Earth, it is about 11 kilometers per second. But no object truly escapes gravity. It only outruns the grasp of one body to fall toward another. Every traveler, every comet, every ray of light, in an infinite web of motion, no path is entirely solitary. Breathe again. Inhale motion. Exhale destination. Even black holes, the densest gatherings of gravity, teach humility. Within their event horizons, space folds so steeply that not even light can leave. Yet around them, matter glows with ferocious beauty, spiraling at near light speed before vanishing. From darkness comes radiance. From confinement, spectacle. Gravity turns collapse into creation's stage. Pause again. Rest in the paradox that what devours also illuminates. Now turn inward. Gravity is not only physical, it is emotional, relational. You feel its echo when drawn toward someone's warmth, when anchored by memory, when returning to places that pull at your heart. Love and longing obey similar mathematics. The closer you are, the stronger the pull. Distance weakens, but never erases it. The human spirit, too, curves space around what it cherishes. Breathe slowly. Inhale affection. Exhale separation. Philosophers once imagined that everything seeks its natural place: the stone to the ground, the flame to the sky. Modern physics replaced that language with curvature and mass, but the intuition endures. Existence leans toward order. The same principle that shapes galaxies shapes meaning. What you love draws you invisibly, without need of command. Reflect again. What unseen forces shape the orbit of your days? Even when you sleep, gravity sings softly in your blood. The ocean tides rise beneath the moon's pool, and so do you. Your body, mostly water, swells minutely with the same rhythm. You are, quite literally, tidal. Every heartbeat is a micro-orbit, responding to cosmic choreography, older than biology. Breathe again. Inhale universality. Exhale individuality. Look outward once more. Between galaxies, space expands, stretching the fabric of the universe faster than gravity can bind it. Yet the balance persists. Attraction holds local systems together, even as cosmic expansion carries them apart. The universe breathes in to motion's gathering and release, cohesion and dispersal, and you, too, live in that rhythm. Pause again. Rest in the truth that equilibrium is not stillness, but dialogue. Gravity has shaped every era. It forged stars, carved planets, drew dust into moons, guided comets, anchored atmospheres, held oceans, and sculpted you. And still it whispers beneath everything, gentle and endless, needing no permission to work. Breathe slowly. Inhale surrender. Exhale control. When you drop a stone, when you fall asleep, when a planet eclipses its sun, when a galaxy swirls unseen, the same rule applies. Curvature guiding motion, motion revealing curvature. The law is simple. The consequence is infinite. Reflect one last time. You live suspended in an invisible embrace, not above it, not outside it, but within it, held by what you can't see, shaped by what you can't measure, loved by what asks for nothing in return. Take one final slow breath. Inhale gravity's grace. Exhale into its quiet certainty. And as you drift toward the next chapter, one thought hums through the dark. The universe does not need to be seen to be known. It pulls, and in that pull, everything finds its place. Planets, light, and you. Close your eyes. Picture an astronomer at the edge of night. A faint red lamp illuminating notes. A telescope humming as it tracks the slow sweep of a galaxy. The sky above is calm, yet through the lens, motion hides in every point of light. Each star is not still, but orbiting, bound to its neighbors by gravity's invisible hand. Breathe slowly. Inhale mystery. Exhale assumption. In the 1930s, a Swiss astronomer named Fritz Zwicky studied a distant cluster of galaxies called Coma. It looked serene, hundreds of galaxies drifting in what appeared to be a silent ballet. But when Zwicky measured their motion, he saw chaos beneath grace. The galaxies were moving too fast, as if the cluster should have torn itself apart. There wasn't enough visible mass. Something unseen was keeping them bound. Pause here. Reflect on how discovery often begins as disbelief. Zwicky called it Dunkelmaterie, dark matter. His proposal was met with skepticism. To suggest that most of the universe was invisible seemed absurd. Yet the equations left no choice. If gravity alone held the cluster together, then there had to be more mass than light revealed. The numbers were relentless, as truth often is. Breathe again. Inhale evidence. Exhale expectation. For decades, his idea lingered in the shadows of science, waiting for better data. Telescopes grew more sensitive, and astronomers mapped galaxies in detail. In the 1970s, Vera Rubin and Kent Ford turned their attention to spiral galaxies, especially one familiar to us, Andromeda. Rubin measured how fast stars at different distances from the center were moving. According to Newton's laws, outer stars should orbit more slowly, just as planets farther from the sun move at gentler speeds. But that wasn't what she found. Pause once more. Rest in the moment when logic begins to unravel. Every star in Andromeda moved almost the same speed. No matter how far from the center, the galaxy's outer edges were spinning too fast to be held by the mass of its visible stars. Something unseen was adding gravitational glue, spreading like an invisible halo far beyond the glowing disk. The pattern repeated in galaxy after galaxy. The unseen wasn't an anomaly, was a rule. Breathe slowly. Inhale revelation. Exhale resistance. The discovery was not dramatic, but quiet. It unfolded in data points, long nights, and quiet conviction. Rubin spoke softly, methodically, presenting graphs that refused to obey the expectations of visible matter. She did not claim mystery for its own sake. She simply showed that the universe was heavier than it looked. And in her calm persistence, she redefined cosmology. Reflect here. How often does truth appear not as thunder, but as patience? Imagine her at her telescope, watching faint light curve across her photographic plates. Each dot a sun, each curve a story of motion. When she compared the data to theory, She must have felt a slow astonishment-an awareness that the cosmos was built mostly from what could not be seen. Breathe again. Inhale humility. Exhale certainty. Dark matter became more than a correction. It became a revelation about structure itself. The visible universe, stars, nebulae, planets, you made up less than 5% of everything that exists. The rest was missing from sight. The galaxies we admire are like frost tracing the outlines of an invisible ocean, their beauty shaped by something that never shines. Pause again. Rest in the paradox that absence can sculpt presence. Astronomers began to map the invisible by its effects. They watched galaxies bend light through gravitational lensing, mass curving space itself. Background galaxies appeared stretched, multiplied, distorted, as if glimpsed through glass. The patterns revealed where invisible matter lay, tracing vast halos around clusters. What was once a guess became a map drawn in distortion. Breathe slowly. Inhale curvature. Exhale clarity. Simulations followed. Computers filled the early universe with invisible particles, letting gravity guide them. What emerged were filaments and knots, the great cosmic web. In the spaces between filaments, galaxies formed like dew along invisible threads. The dark came first. The light merely settled into its structure. Creation began not with visibility, but with scaffolding that could never be directly seen. Reflect here. Maybe all form requires something unspoken beneath it. It does not emit light, nor block it. It passes through matter silently, interacting only through gravity. Some theories call it WIMPs weakly interacting massive particles. Others imagine ixions, sterile neutrinos, or unknown physics entirely. Experiments deep underground listen for faint collisions, but so far, silence remains. Yet even silence carries weight when everything it holds together would fall apart without it. Inhale faith in evidence. Exhale the need for sight. If you could see dark matter, the night sky would transform. Galaxies would glow within vast cocoons of invisible mass. Filaments stretching across billions of light years, forming a skeleton for everything luminous. The Milky Way itself would appear as a pearl embedded in a much larger sphere. An unseen realm gently holding our familiar stars in place. Pause again. Rest in the comfort that mystery does not mean emptiness. It means structure, hidden by light. Dark matter explains not only galaxies, but history. Without it, the early universe's small clumps of gas would not have grown into stars fast enough. The invisible mass gave gravity the strength to shape the cosmos quickly, to pull scattered atoms into suns and planets. Without the unseen, there would be no seen. Without the absence, no presence. Breathe slowly. Inhale causation. Exhale gratitude. Sometimes, when you look up at the stars, it is tempting to believe that light is the main story, the spectacle of fire, the poetry of brightness. But the real narrative may lie beneath, in the gravitational architecture that light merely adorns. The galaxies are lanterns, yes, but the poles that hold them upright are dark. Reflect once more. Perhaps the most important things in your own life are also unseen. The quiet forces of care, patience, and memory that hold you in orbit. Rubens' smooth graphs, the lenses of galaxies, the hum of simulations all converge to one conclusion. The universe is not defined by what shines, but by what endures. What we call dark may not be darkness at all, but the background structure that allows light to exist in the first place. Breathe again. Inhale perspective. Exhale illusion. Look inward now. Your own life, too, is shaped by invisible matter gravity's pull. Yes, but also the unseen weight of choices, histories, relationships. The orbits of your days curve around forces you cannot name but feel deeply. You live as the universe does, inside a balance of what is known and what quietly sustains it. Pause again. Rest in that symmetry between cosmos and self. When astronomers gaze at clusters through modern telescopes, they see light bent into arcs, glimpses of galaxies billions of years old, magnified by the gravity of what cannot be seen. Those arcs are not accidents. They are signatures of an invisible presence. The universe, it turns out, writes its secrets in distortion, not disappearance. Breathe slowly. Inhale patience with mystery. Exhale the need to conclude. The discovery of dark matter is not the story of finding something new, but of learning to trust the evidence of what isn't there. It is the art of listening for mass in the silence between stars. It is a reminder that absence is not nothing. It is an active presence that shapes everything else. Reflect once more. Maybe truth often hides in what refuses to be illuminated. Take one final slow breath. Inhale the invisible weight that keeps everything whole. Exhale into quiet recognition. And as you drift toward the next chapter, one thought lingers like gravity itself. Sometimes, what you cannot see still holds you most tightly, and the universe, like the heart, is mostly made of what does not shine. Close your eyes and imagine a spiral galaxy. It turns slowly in the dark, like a vast pinwheel of stars, arms unfurling in graceful curves. From a distance, it looks serene, a frozen whirlpool of light. But inside that calm is motion beyond comprehension. Every star is circling the center at hundreds of kilometers per second. Each one a traveler in a gravitational dance. You drift closer. The bright core glows with ancient stars, dense and golden. Farther out, the spiral arms thin into delicate strands, so faint they seem ready to break. By all logic, they should. According to the visible matter, the stars, the gas, the dust, the outer arms move too fast. Centrifugal force should fling them outward into intergalactic space, scattering the galaxy like seeds on the wind. And yet they do not. They remain bound, turning, patient, whole. Breathe slowly. Inhale the question. Exhale the wonder. What holds them? In the 1970s, an astronomer named Vera Rubin looked carefully at galaxies like this. She measured the speeds of stars at different distances from their centers. She expected what physics predicted: inner stars moving fast, outer stars moving slowly, like planets around the sun. But that was not what she found. The outer stars were moving just as quickly as the inner ones. Something unseen was pulling on them, something massive, invisible, everywhere. You imagine Rubin sitting in a dark observatory, the telescope turning across the night sky. The galaxies she studied were small smudges on photographic plates, yet hidden in their rotation was a cosmic secret. When she traced their velocities, the curve refused to drop as it should. Instead, it flattened, stubbornly, like a quiet contradiction. The data whispered of matter that could not be seen. This was the first clear sign of what we now call dark matter, the invisible glue of the cosmos. It does not shine, does not absorb light, cannot be touched or photographed. Yet it outweighs everything luminous by 5 to 1. The universe, it turns out, is mostly made of something we cannot see. Pause here. Let that idea rest in you. Everything you have ever seen, the sun, the moon, the stars, your own body is only a small fraction of reality. The rest is hidden, silent, holding the visible world together. You breathe, and suddenly air feels heavier, as if full of invisible structure. You picture the galaxy again. Around the bright spiral lies a vast halo of unseen matter, extending far beyond the outermost stars. It is not arranged in arms or disks, but in an enormous cloud of gravity, shaping the galaxy like hands around clay. The stars move not through emptiness, but through this invisible sea, held in orbits they do not understand. There is something poetic in that image, the visible world sustained by the invisible. You think of your own life the way unseen forces hold you to love, memory, gravity, time. You cannot photograph them, yet they bind everything you are. Astronomers searched for what dark matter could be. Could it be dim stars, black holes, clouds of cold gas? Each idea failed. Whatever this matter was, it did not interact with light at all. It passed through stars, through planets, even through you, as though you were made of mist. Billions of these particles may be moving through your body every second, unseen and unfelt, like ghosts that never linger. Breathe again. Feel the strangeness of existing inside something invisible. The galaxy that should have fallen apart endures because of what cannot be known directly. The cosmos, it seems, is built on faith, faith in evidence felt. It forms great halos and filaments, scaffolding on which galaxies hang. Computer simulations reveal this hidden web, vast threads of invisible mass stretching across the universe, connecting galaxy clusters like beads on string. The bright galaxies, the ones we see in Webb's images, are only jewels on this unseen net. Around you, glowing galaxies drift like embers, each one held in place by invisible tension. You move along a filament, feeling the quiet pull of gravity, the soft hum of structure. The darkness is not empty, it is alive with potential. Pause again. Let this vision settle into your breath. Inhale the vastness of the unseen. Exhale the humility it inspires. The more we learn about the universe, the more we realize how little of it we can perceive. The galaxy's calm face hides unimaginable depth. So does everything. Even the discovery of dark matter was not the end, but the beginning of deeper questions. What is it, truly? Is it composed of particles unknown to physics? Is it a property of space itself? Could our understanding of gravity be incomplete? No one knows. The mystery endures, patient as the galaxies it holds. The data insists on something unseen, but the explanation remains a whisper just beyond reach. There is comfort in this, if you let it be so. The universe is not a solved puzzle, but an open question. Our ignorance is not failure, it is invitation. Like the stars at the edges of a galaxy, our minds circle an invisible center, drawn by curiosity we cannot fully name. Now imagine yourself as one of those outer stars. You spin through darkness, surrounded by emptiness that is not empty. Something unseen steadies you, keeps you from flying away. You never see it. You only feel its effect, the way your path stays true, the way your motion has meaning. Perhaps life itself is like this. We orbit around mysteries that keep us in balance. Though we never grasp them, breathe once more. Inhale what is visible, the light of known things. Exhale into what is hidden, the gravity of the unknown. The rhythm feels complete. Dark matter reminds us that existence is larger than perception. We live inside structures we cannot sense, yet depend upon completely. Every galaxy, every star, every atom of light moves within this invisible architecture. Without it, the cosmos would have scattered long ago. Without the unseen, nothing visible would remain. As the chapter slows to its final stillness, you realize that dark matter is more than a scientific discovery. It is a metaphor for faith, for connection, for the quiet strength beneath appearances. The galaxy that should have fallen apart endures because the universe has more to it than eyes can find. You rest in that thought. The hidden and the seen, the silence and the shining, the gravity and the glow belong together. The universe holds itself through opposites, the visible giving beauty, the invisible giving form. And as you drift toward sleep, one last image lingers. The spiral galaxy turns endlessly in darkness, its outer stars still circling, still faithful, held by arms that cannot be seen. Around it, an unseen halo hums, softly, steady, and immense. You whisper to yourself that mystery is not the absence of understanding. It is the presence of depth, and somewhere beyond that depth, another question is already forming. If dark matter is the hidden structure of the universe, then what hidden force might shape the unseen currents of time itself? The thought glows faintly, unresolved. As the galaxy continues to turn, close your eyes and imagine the universe not as a painting of stars, but as a sheet of glass clear, curved, invisible until light passes through it. Now picture that glass being gently distorted, as if someone pressed their palm against it. The light bends, the image behind it stretches, and shapes shift into rings and arcs. This is how astronomers learned to map the invisible, not by what shines, but by how shining things are bent. This bending is called gravitational lensing. It is one of the most beautiful tricks of the universe. Einstein predicted it long before it was ever seen. Gravity, he said, is not a force pulling things from afar. It is a warping of space itself. Where there is mass, space curves. Where space curves, light follows. A galaxy can become a lens, its gravity bending light from galaxies even farther away. Through this bending, the invisible announces itself. Breathe slowly. Inhale the thought of light traveling straight, sure, unwavering. Exhale the realization that space itself can guide it otherwise. You feel the softness of that truth. Even light, the fastest thing in the universe, must bow to gravity's quiet touch. When astronomers observe a massive cluster of galaxies, they find something strange. The visible matter, the stars, the gas does not create enough gravity to bend light so dramatically. Yet the background galaxies appear distorted, smeared into arcs that form rings of brilliance around the cluster. The explanation is simple, though its implications are vast. There must be mass we cannot see. Dark matter, again, revealed not by its light, but by its fingerprint on light's path. We do not see the invisible. We see its influence, like wind moving through grass, or gravity holding a galaxy's arms. The unseen reveals itself only through the visible it touches. To map what cannot be seen, one must learn to notice the distortions. Imagine yourself floating in space near such a cluster. Light from distant galaxies streams past you in endless rivers. As it passes near the cluster, it bends gracefully, like ribbons caught in a slow current. Some paths curve around, forming halos of light. Others split, creating multiple images of the same galaxy in different places, like reflections in rippling water. The sky becomes a hall of mirrors, and you are inside it. Pause here. Let the image settle. Light bending through invisible structures. Galaxies mirrored, multiplied, curved. It feels almost sacred geometry turned into revelation. Astronomers use these distortions to reconstruct the invisible. They measure how much light is bent, how far it's displaced, how stretched each arc becomes. With patient calculation, they can chart the mass responsible for the bending. In this way, they draw maps of the unseen. These maps are ghostly, full of transparent shapes, halos, filaments, webs outlining dark matter's silent architecture. You picture these maps like faint topographies of gravity, hills and valleys unseen but real. The galaxies are beads resting on invisible ridges. The universe, it seems, has structure even where no light dwells. To gaze upon these maps is to realize that the cosmos is not random. It is sculpted by the invisible hand of gravity, shaped into coherence by something that never shines. Take another breath. Inhale the weight of the invisible. Exhale the calm that comes from understanding that not all truth is visible. Seeing is no longer enough. Feeling, inferring, imagining, these are new kinds of sight. Even Webb, with its golden eyes tuned to warmth, cannot see dark matter directly, but it can see lensing with exquisite precision. Its deep field images reveal galaxies, twisted and smeared, evidence of mass hidden between. The telescope, patient and cold, becomes like a blind sculptor, tracing contours through touch. It does not see the invisible, but it feels its shape. You reflect on how this applies to your own life. There are invisible forces that shape you to love, fear, memory, hope. You do not see them, but you see their distortions, the choices they bend, the paths they redirect, the light they curve. You, too, can map your unseen by tracing its effects. Breathe again. Let this connection soften your thoughts. The invisible does not need to be proven to be real. Its presence is known by its influence. Now imagine a single beam of light leaving a galaxy billions of years ago. It travels through space, through nothingness that is not nothing. Along the way, it encounters the gravity of clusters, filaments, dark matter halos. Each time, its path bends slightly, altered by unseen mass. After eons of travel, it reaches the telescope your waiting eye across eternity. When you look at that faint dot, you are not seeing the galaxy where it truly is. You are seeing where gravity has allowed it to appear. The entire sky, in truth, is a dance of distortions. Pause once more. Notice how that feels not disorienting, but beautiful. The universe is not broken, it is curved. Reality is not false, it is layered. The map is not wrong, it is drawn in deeper dimensions. Astronomers now use lensing to weigh clusters, to trace the filaments of dark matter connecting galaxies, to understand how the universe grew from chaos to order. They study the stretching of light as though reading Braille from the cosmos. Each distortion, each curve, is a word in gravity's script. To read it is to read the invisible story beneath the visible sky. Take comfort in the gentleness of this revelation. The cosmos does not shout its secrets. It reveals them through quiet deviations, through softened light, through the patience of those who look closely. The invisible is not hidden to deceive. It is hidden because it is vast. Now return to your breath. Feel gravity where you sit, the gentle pull of Earth beneath you. You are being held by the same law that bends galaxies. You are part of the same curvature that guides the light. The invisible structure of the universe is not out there alone. It flows through you, around you, beneath your every step. You are an observer, yes, but also a participant. Let that realization settle. You are part of the map. You are not outside the curvature, but within it. The same gravity that shapes galaxies shapes your heartbeat, your steps, your orbit through time. As this chapter nears stillness, you picture again the web of the universe, luminous threads, dark strands, galaxies resting on unseen scaffolds. It is both chaotic and harmonious, unknowable yet intimate. The invisible holds everything together, quietly, endlessly, without need for acknowledgement. You rest in that thought, the humility of being held by forces you cannot see, and the wonder of living in a cosmos that can be mapped not by sight, but by touch, inference, and trust. And as the thought settles, another question rises softly, like a faint arc of light at the edge of vision. If the universe bends light through gravity, could it also bend time, bending memory itself? The question glows, faint and unresolved, like a distant lensing arc against the dark. Close your eyes. Picture the universe not as scattered islands of light, but as a vast, delicate web. From one end of imagination to the other, threads stretch in every direction, thin, transparent, endless. Along them hang tiny beads of brightness, galaxies, each a shimmering drop of dew caught in the invisible silk. Between them lies darkness, not empty, but alive with tension. This is the cosmic web, the skeleton of existence, spun from what cannot be seen. You drift through it, slowly. The filaments are made of dark matter, the same unseen substance that kept the spiral galaxies from flying apart. But here, on the largest scale, it becomes architecture. It gathers, folds, and stretches space itself, shaping where galaxies are born and where they will die. Light merely decorates the structure. It does not define it. What you see in the night sky are ornaments on an invisible frame. Breathe once. Inhale the thought that the universe has bones. Exhale the quiet astonishment that they are made of shadow. Astronomers mapped this hidden web through patience and inference. They watched how galaxies cluster and how voids expand between them. They measured subtle distortions in the light of distant quasars, gravity's fingerprints traced across the sky. With supercomputers, they ran cosmic simulations, letting gravity tug at imaginary matter until patterns appeared. What emerged looked like lace, glowing nodes, connected by filaments, stretching for hundreds of millions of light years. The pattern repeated, fractal and serene. The universe, it seems, builds itself through repetition, thread by thread, fold by fold. Imagine yourself traveling along one of these filaments. Around you there is no light, no sound, only a faint awareness of motion. Every few 100 million light years, you pass through a cluster of galaxies' glittering knots where the threads meet. Each knot hums softly with radiation, stars burning in the hollows of the invisible net. Beyond them, the strands continue, thinner and colder, until they fade into vast, silent voids. The emptiness between filaments is almost absolute tregence, where galaxies are rare, where even time feels slowed by distance. Yet those voids are part of the design, giving shape to the pattern by their absence. Pause here. Let the rhythm of expansion match your breathing. Inhale along the thread. Exhale into the void. The web expands, and you expand with it. Scientists call this structure the large-scale distribution of matter. But such words cannot hold its beauty. It is cosmic embroidery, a tapestry woven from gravity and time. Each filament began as a ripple in the early universe, tiny fluctuations in density after the Big Bang. Over billions of years, gravity amplified those ripples, drawing matter into strands, then knots, then galaxies. The web you drift through is the fossilized music of those first vibrations. It is the aftermedge of creation's earliest song. There is comfort in knowing that chaos gave birth to structure. Random fluctuations became harmony. Disorder became design. Out of the noise, pattern emerged slowly, naturally, without guidance, without haste. The universe wove itself into coherence. You feel a quiet kinship with that process. Your own life, too, is a web of accidents that somehow form a pattern when viewed from afar. Now, imagine looking back at the cosmic web from a distance, so great that you can see it whole. The threads gleam faintly in ultraviolet light, twisting through blackness like smoke lit by sunrise. The galaxies sparkle along them, blue, red, gold, countless. From this view, the universe resembles a living organism. Nerves, veins, synapses, flashing with starlight. You realize that what we call space is not empty at all. It is connective tissue. Every star, every atom, every thought occurs within the tension of this invisible net. Breathe again. Feel that same connective tissue within yourself, the way your own life is bound to others. The way unseen influences shape your path. Just as galaxies cannot drift free of their filaments, neither can we exist apart from the webs of relationship and memory that hold us. To be alive is to be woven. Dark matter does not glow, yet it defines the glowing. It does not speak, yet it dictates the music of orbits. The visible universe is its echo. This realization softens you. You begin to see that the unseen need not be feared. The unseen is the foundation, the quiet support beneath brightness. As you move deeper into thought, you sense that this web of shadows may extend beyond physics. Perhaps consciousness, too, has its filaments, connections of empathy, imagination, curiosity that link minds across generations. Perhaps ideas, like galaxies, cluster along invisible lines of gravity, forming civilizations, then fading, leaving empty spaces for new patterns to form. The cosmos above and the human story below are not separate fabrics, but threads of the same loom. Pause once more. The silence here feels full, not empty. The dark matter does not glow because it does not need to. Its purpose is to hold. Strength need not announce itself in the far reaches of the web, where filaments thin into darkness. The pattern begins to dissolve. Expansion stretches the threads until they almost vanish. Someday, far in the future, even galaxies will drift apart, their mutual gravity too weak to keep them near. The web will loosen, its tension relaxing into cosmic stillness. But the memory of its weaving will remain in the stars, in us, in whatever comes next. Creation, after all, is a verb without end. As this chapter settles into stillness, you find yourself resting in the image of the web vast, silent, intricate, eternal. Every point of light you have ever known hangs upon it. Every motion you have ever made participates in its rhythm. The universe is not scattered chaos, but connected silence, held together by what cannot be seen. You breathe once more, slow and deep. Inhale the unity of all things. Exhale the illusion of separation. You are a single vibration on this web, a note in its timeless chord. The shadows do not threaten, they sustain, and as the image fades, another thought begins to form soft, as if woven from the same thread. If the web holds galaxies in its invisible arms, what other structures might it cradle? Worlds still unlit, or dimensions we have yet to imagine? The question glimmers at the edge of the dark, suspended like a dewdrop on cosmic silk. Close your eyes and imagine holding the universe in your hands, not as stars or planets, but as a single, shining Wedahole cosmos, condensed into something you could feel. You expect it to glow, to hum, to radiate light, but when you lift it, it feels strangely insubstantial. You look closer and realize almost everything within it is invisible. The light you see, the atoms you touch, the galaxies that dazzle telescopes, they are only a sliver of what's really there. Only about 5% of the universe is made of ordinary matter, the kind that forms stars, planets, oceans, and breath. The rest is hidden, roughly 27% dark matter, the cosmic skeleton, and 68% dark energy, the mysterious pressure that drives space to expand faster and faster. What we can see, what we can measure directly, is only the faint crust of reality's depth. Breathe slowly. Inhale the thought that most of the universe does not shine. Exhale the awe that follows. To live inside such vast invisibility is to live in faith. Astronomers discovered this imbalance not through direct vision, but through inference. When they weighed galaxies by their visible content stars, gas, dust, the numbers never added up. Galaxies moved as though they carried far more mass than their light revealed. Dark matter, unseen but heavy, filled the gap. Yet, even with that accounted for, another mystery remained. The universe's expansion was accelerating, not slowing under its own gravity as expected. Something unseen in energy, unlike any other, was pushing everything apart. Dark energy, a name both simple and profound. Not darkness in the sense of shadow, but in the sense of mystery, placeholder for something utterly beyond comprehension. Pause here. Let the scale of that mystery expand inside you. The visible universe, everything from the smallest atom to the brightest quasars, only a glimmer on an invisible sea. And yet, from that tiny fraction of visibility, life arose. You arose. Inhale once more. Feel how light and hiddenness coexist in you, too. Your visible self, your form, your voices, only a surface. Beneath it are thoughts, feelings, memories, dreams, your own dark matter, unseen but defining. Astronomers speak of the universe's weight because gravity is how we know it exists. But the weight is not evenly distributed. It is hidden in halos, spread across filaments, and stored in vacuum itself. The cosmos balances on unseen scales. When you look at the night sky, you are not seeing most of what exists. You are seeing what leaks through. Imagine drifting through intergalactic space, no stars, no planets, only the dim glow of distant clusters. Around you, space expands, stretching light into faint red embers. You feel weightless, yet you are surrounded by weight. Every cubic meter of the void contains energy, subtle, constant, omnipresent. Dark energy fills the spaces between galaxies like invisible wind. It does not pull, it pushes. It is not gravity's rival, but its complement, the quiet counterforce, ensuring that the story never collapses back into itself. Breathe again. The expansion of space is not violent, it is graceful. Galaxies drift apart, the way ripples spread across water, slow, patient, eternal. You feel the gentleness of that movement, the calm inevitability of it. Dark matter pulls. Dark energy pushes. Between them lies the visible universe, balanced in delicate tension. You realize that even existence itself seems to depend on opposites, attraction and release, gravity and expansion, matter and mystery. Without both, there would be no structure, no time, no place for life to appear. The more scientists measure, the more humbling the numbers become. 95% of the universe is invisible, not metaphorically, but literally beyond detection, except through its influence. We build telescopes to catch light, but the majority of reality emits none. We are studying shadows on the surface of an ocean whose depth we cannot yet sound. Pause again. Let the thought settle gently. The unseen does not diminish the known. It completes it. Mystery is not a gap in knowledge, it is the horizon of wonder. Now imagine the universe as a great symphony. The luminous matter, the stars and galaxies, the melody, bright, resonant, easy to hear. Dark matter is the rhythm beneath, steady, structural. Dark energy is the silence between notes, the pause that gives the music shape. Remove any one, and the song collapses. Together they create balance, the seen, the unseen, and the empty space between. You think of your own life again. The parts of you that shine are supported by those that do not. The quiet acts, the forgotten memories, the moments no one witnesses, these form your dark matter. The energy that carries you forward, the will to change or endure, that is your dark energy. You are built from the same balance as the universe itself. Visible brightness held in invisible arms. Inhale deeply, exhale softly. Let the mystery become comfort. The unknown is not against you, it surrounds you, supports you, sustains you. Astronomers now try to measure this hidden mass and energy with exquisite precision. Satellites map the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, looking for clues in subtle patterns. Galaxies serve as test weights, their motions betraying gravity's pull. Supernova measure expansion through their light curves, each explosion a cosmic clock. The more the data converge, the clearer the imbalance becomes. We live in a universe whose weight lies mostly in what cannot be seen, and yet this invisibility is not absence. Dark matter shapes every galaxy. Dark energy shapes every future. Without them, stars would never have formed, and the universe might have collapsed long ago. The invisible is the reason the visible exists at all. Pause once more. Let that thought echo. What is unseen gives structure to what is seen. What is silent gives meaning to what is sung. As you drift in this reflection, you imagine standing on the edge of understanding, looking out into infinity. You cannot see dark matter. You cannot feel dark energy, but you know they are there, written into the equations that keep galaxies bound and time flowing. The universe's weight is not in its brightness, but in its depth. You take one more slow breath, feeling gravity beneath your feet and expansion in your lungs. You are part of both the pull of Earth holding you, the expansion of space, carrying your breath outward. You are woven into the same balance that defines the cosmos, and in this moment, the realization feels both vast and intimate. Nearly everything real cannot be seen, yet its presence shapes everything that is. You, too, are partly made of silence. You, too, are mostly invisible to yourself. As the chapter closes, you rest in the weight of that understanding. The universe is not heavy with stars. It is heavy with mystery. It is a balance of forces so immense and so quiet that they become indistinguishable from peace. And as you drift towards stillness, a soft question rises. If the universe's true weight is invisible, could meaning itself also be hidden? Not in what we know, but in what we will never fully grasp. The question hangs gently, like a planet suspended in gravity's hand, as the stars continue their patient orbit around the unseen. Take a slow breath. The room is quiet, and the world beyond it seems to dissolve. You are left with darkness, not the darkness of fear, but of mystery, of depth. Imagine that this darkness is not empty at all. It hums softly with presence, filled with particles that slip through matter like ghosts through dreams. You do not feel them, yet they pass through you constantly, thousands, perhaps millions, every second. This is the invisible reign of dark matter. Dark matter. The phrase itself feels like a contradiction, something that is, yet cannot be seen. Astronomers discovered its existence, not by sight, but by gravity's pull. Galaxies, when observed carefully, spin too fast. Stars at their edges move with such speed that if only visible matter existed, they should fly away into space. But they do not. Something unseen holds them in its embrace. An invisible scaffold keeping the universe intact. You picture this cosmic dance, spiral galaxies whirling in the dark, their arms stretched wide, each one wrapped in a halo of hidden mass. It is beautiful and unsettling. More than 80% of the universe's matter is dark matter, unseen, untouched, unconfirmed. Everything we know, planets, people, light, dusties, only a sliver of what exists. It is as if reality itself has a shadow. Now breathe again. Imagine that shadow trickling through you, a gentle, invisible rainfall. It moves effortlessly through walls, through mountains, through the entire earth. Each particle barely interacts with normal matter. It does not bounce. It does not cling. It simply continues on its endless journey through space and time. If your skin could sense it, you would feel the quietest drizzle of the cosmos. Scientists have spent decades trying to catch even one of these hidden travelers. They have given them names WIMPs, short for weakly interacting massive particles, and Ixions, ethereal cousins of light that twist through magnetic fields. To find them, researchers build enormous detectors deep underground in caves and mines, shielded from cosmic noise. Inside, vats of liquid xenon or germanium sit in perfect darkness, waiting for a single glimmer of interaction, a faint flash, a recoil, a whisper of contact. Most of the time, nothing happens. Years pass in silence, but the search continues, patient and reverent, like waiting for a star to blink in the night. Cold, silent, deeper than light can reach. Sensors shimmer faintly with potential. You can almost hear it breathing the hum of electricity, the drip of cooling fluid, the heart of human curiosity beating in the dark. And somewhere in that chamber, a dark matter particle may be passing, invisible, untouched, anonymous. It brushes through the atoms of the detector, through the atoms of your body, and moves on, leaving no mark but wonder. What is it, this hidden substance? Some theories say WIMPs are relics from the birth of the universe, forged in the first seconds after the Big Bang, when energy became matter and chaos became structure. Others suggest Ixions, lighter than imagination, slipping through space as waves rather than particles so delicate that they could form a cosmic symphony we have yet to hear. Every idea feels like poetry written in the language of mathematics. Each equation a metaphor for hope. You float in these possibilities, feeling the enormity of unknowing. To not see something and yet to believe in it. This is both science and faith. Not faith in myth, but faith in pattern, in reason, in the quiet insistence that what pulls on galaxies must be real. Perhaps dark matter is not one thing, but many streams, filaments, clouds of exotic entities weaving an invisible web across the cosmos. It may even connect galaxies like threads of an unseen loom, stitching the universe together from the inside out. Now imagine looking up at the night sky. The stars seem scattered, yet they gather along this hidden structure. Every cluster, every filament of galaxies follows dark matter's guidance. You cannot see it, but you can trace its influence. Like wind shaping sand, it is the architecture of existence, an artist working in secret, never signing its name. You drift deeper into thought. What if dark matter moves not only through space, but also through time? Each particle, older than stars, older than atoms, a traveler that has never interacted enough to change. In your mind's eye, one of these particles passes through your hand, your heart, the planet itself, and continues onward untouched since the dawn of creation. You are, in this moment, sharing space with eternity. Take another breath. The air feels heavier, though you know it's the same as before. Perhaps it is not the air that changes, but your awareness of what fills it. Every moment, invisible matter moves through your body, your walls. The night, it links you to galaxies billions of light years away. You are, in a literal sense, immersed in the fabric that holds the cosmos together. The more you think about it, the more the universe feels like a mystery written in invisible ink. Scientists illuminate one corner, and another shadow appears. For every question answered, to more unfold. But that is the beauty of exploration. It is not about conquering the unknown, but listening to it gently, with patience. You imagine the scientists as monks of modern times, their laboratories temples of curiosity, their prayers written in data and silence. Perhaps someday, one detector will see the faintest flicker, the smallest recoil, and in that blink we will know. The first true glimpse of the particle that hides. It will not be loud. There will be no explosion, no drama, just a quiet spark in a chamber of stillness. And from that spark, an entire branch of physics will unfold, reshaping our understanding of what the universe is made of. But even then, the mystery will deepen, because behind dark matter lies another unseen layer: dark energy, a force even more elusive, driving the universe's expansion. It is as if every discovery opens not a door, but a corridor. You pause in that realization. The universe does not give up its secrets easily. It prefers to whisper. And perhaps that is what keeps us searching, the need to listen more closely, to find the language of the invisible. You sense the same impulse in yourself, the desire to understand what moves beneath your own surface, the unseen forces that shape your choices, your emotions, your dreams. Maybe dark matter is not just a cosmic mystery, but a mirror for the parts of ourselves we cannot name. As you breathe, let that thought settle. Every particle of you is normal. Metatoms, electrons, protons. And yet, you live within a sea of something far greater, something unknown. You are both seen and unseen, defined and indefinite. You are matter illuminated by mystery. The invisible rain continues to fall. You picture it now, streams of dark matter flowing through the earth, through oceans and mountains, through the sleeping cities above. It leaves no trace, yet without it, galaxies would unravel. The world depends on what it cannot feel. That thought, gentle and vast, fills you with quiet awe. Stay there for a moment, tin the balance between knowing and not knowing, between what science measures and what imagination senses. The particle that hides may never reveal itself completely, but in searching for it, humanity learns how to look more carefully, how to wonder more deeply, how to live inside the mystery rather than try to escape it. The dark around you feels softer now, not empty, but full. You realize that to exist is to share space with what you cannot see, and that this, somehow, is enough. You breathe once more, slow and steady, as if joining the rhythm of the universe itself, steady, patient, hidden, vast. And as you drift toward sleep, one final question glows quietly in your mind. If matter can hide so perfectly, what other truths might be passing through us now unseen, unmeasured, waiting for us to notice? You begin this chapter in darkness, again not the darkness of night, but a deeper, older kind, the kind that lives beneath the world. Imagine yourself descending through the crust of the earth, through stone, through salt, through ancient layers that have not seen daylight in a billion years. The air cools, the sounds fade, even gravity feels thicker here. The deeper you go, the quieter everything becomes. You are entering the realm of experiments in the deep. Scientists build their instruments here, far below mountains, or frozen beneath Antarctic ice, to listen for things too faint to be heard anywhere else. The surface is too noisy, too alive with radiation from space, too crowded with the electric hum of human life. But down here, Inside caverns carved from rock, there is only stillness. It is in that stillness that the hidden particles might speak. Picture a chamber larger than a cathedral, yet dark as a dream. At its center sits a vessel, steel walls surrounding tanks of liquid xenon, or argon, or germanium, cooled to temperatures near absolute zero. The air is heavy with cold metal and silence. Around it, detectors wait like monks in prayer, each wire a listening nerve. They are tuned not to sound, but to touch, listening for the lightest brush of a dark matter particle colliding with an atom. You imagine standing there, helmet light off, your breath clouding in the air. The only sound is the faint drip of condensation echoing against the walls. The machines do not move. They simply wait. Waiting is their work, their discipline, their meditation. In that stillness, they are sensitive enough to feel the smallest flicker of interaction, smaller than the faintest heartbeat, smaller than a whisper against a feather. And yet, most of the time, nothing happens. The detectors remain silent, untouched. Months pass, years even, with only background noise to record. The decay of ordinary atoms, the slow sigh of the Earth's own radiation. But the scientists above do not despair. They understand that patience is part of the method. In science, as in meditation, silence itself is information. Every quiet night of data helps narrow the search. Every absence teaches where not to look. The deeper you imagine yourself, the more you feel how ancient the Earth is. These laboratories are like minds within its body, tiny nodes of awareness embedded in stone. Some are hidden beneath Italian mountains, others under Canadian mines, still others buried deep beneath Antarctic ice. They form a secret network of listening posts across the world, each one attuned to the faint conversation between matter and mystery. Above them, snow falls, oceans move, cities breathe, life continues, unaware of the still watchfulness below. It's strange to think that while you sleep, instruments buried miles beneath your feet are listening for a single event that might change physics forever. A particle that hides, brushing against the ordinary world for the briefest instant, leaving behind a signal so soft that even silence must be quieted to hear it. Now, close your eyes a little tighter. Imagine being in the laboratory itself. The walls glow faintly with safety lights, their red reflections rippling across steel. Each instrument hums at a frequency too low to hear, a vibration of anticipation. The scientists check their readings, adjust their sensors, whisper quietly so as not to disturb the air. They know that even one stray breath, one flicker of radiation from their own bodies can mask what they seek. You feel the respect in their movements, the reverence for precision, for calm. This is not science as spectacle, but as listening. The pursuit of the faintest truth imaginable. The universe speaks, but only in whispers. You let your mind wander to the IceCube Neutrino Observatory at the South Pole, beneath 2 kilometers of frozen water. Strings of sensors hang like glowing beads in the dark. The ice is clear as glass and older than civilization. It captures light from invisible particles passing through it. When a high-energy neutrino collides with a molecule, it releases a flasher, silent blue pulse. The sensors record it, translating that tiny blink into data that travels across the world in a way. Each detector, whether under mountain or ices, a mirror of our own human longing to understand what cannot be seen. We dig into the earth not to escape the sky, but to find the parts of it that hide from light. We go deep because mystery itself is deep. Take a slow breath. Feel the pressure of the world above you, tons of rock and soil pressing down. You are safe within it, part of it. The earth shelters these experiments the way a shell shelters a pearl. The darkness is not oppressive, is protective. The quiet is not empty, it is full of waiting. You begin to sense how delicate the act of discovery truly is. To detect something invisible, you must build a world of near-perfect silence. Every atom becomes an intruder, every vibration a potential disguise. The scientists strip away layer after layer of interference, as if peeling back the noise of existence itself. What remains is almost nothing, and in that almost nothing, they hope to see the universe revealed. Perhaps that is what discovery always feels like. Not a burst of sound, but a pause so deep it allows the faintest signal to be heard. You drift further into this thought, into the rhythm of the machines. Their quiet persistence feels human and eternal. For all our technology, all our intelligence, the act remains simple. Listen carefully and wait. Like monks chanting in silence, these detectors remind us that knowledge begins in stillness. If one day a dark matter particle collides with an atom in one of these chambers, it will not be dramatic. There will be no explosion, no flash to see with the naked eye, just a pulse of light in the sensors, a pattern in the data, an anomaly that whispers, "I was here." From that whisper, a new story of the universe will unfold. A story that began in silence, beneath the mountains, under the ice. You realize then that the search itself is beautiful, even without a discovery. It teaches patience, humility, devotion. It shows that science is not only about results, but about the practice of listening to the unknown without demanding that it speak. The detectors are not failures for their silence. They are mirrors, reflecting our willingness to wait for wonder. Now, in your mind, step back from the cavern. See it from above the earth, round and immense, holding tiny pockets of light deep within its crust. Those are the laboratories, glowing faintly in the dark like fireflies trapped in stone. Each one is a small act of faith in the universe's generosity. Each one is a reminder that even the deepest silence can one day yield a sound. You breathe again, slowly, feeling the rhythm of your heartbeat match the steady pulse of the machines far below. You are connected to them through curiosity, through the quiet wish to know. Perhaps that wish itself is the universe speaking through you, the same force that drives stars to shine, atoms to bond, galaxies to spiral. The impulse to connect dot. And as you rise gently from this thought, drifting upward from the underground stillness toward the open air, you carry that sense of patience with you. The detectors remain, still listening, still waiting. Their work continues in darkness, but the darkness feels less like absence now, and more like a cradle dot. Somewhere in it, particles still fall, unseen. The earth catches them softly. The mountains shield them kindly, and deep below, the instruments of wonder keep listening, faithful to the quiet between atoms. And as your mind rests on that image, a new question begins to form, delicate and glowing. If deep beneath us the universe whispers, What messages might it send through the vast space between the stars? Close your eyes and drift backward, farther than history, farther than memory, farther even than light itself. The universe is young now, only a few 100,000 years old, still wrapped in its first quiet glow. There are no stars, no planets, no constellations to name. Only a soft ocean of hydrogen and helium stretching in every direction, warm and even, like fog lit from within. It is a universe without edges and without detail, a sleeping sea, and yet, hidden within that sea, there are ghosts. They do not shine, they do not scatter light, but they are there, dark matter, moving soundlessly through the newborn cosmos. They drift in invisible tides, drawn by gravity and nothing else. Each ghost tugs gently on the gas around it, shaping space without ever touching it. From these silent motions, structure begins. You imagine this time not as darkness, but as anticipation. The universe has expanded from the Big Bang's initial fire into calmness, but it is restless, like breath held too long. The photons that once bounced wildly off matter have at last escaped, flooding outward as the faint afterglow we now call the cosmic microwave background. Space cools, hydrogen atoms form, and into this cooling stillness, dark matter begins to draw its patterns. Take a slow breath. Picture vast regions of space where the density of dark matter is slightly higher, tiny fluctuations, perhaps 1 part in 100,000. Those faint differences are enough. Gravity amplifies them, pulling dark matter together into filaments and knots, like threads tightening in a cosmic loom. Normal matter, gas, and dust follows, slipping into these invisible wells as water gathers in valleys. It is a gentle falling, a long surrender to gravity's patience over millions of years. The gas at the centers of these dark matter halos grows dense enough to ignite. The first stars are born, blue, enormous, short-lived. Their light cuts through the cosmic fog, transforming the universe from darkness to radiance. And yet, none of this would have happened without the hidden scaffolding beneath, the ghostly framework of dark matter that gathered the gas in the first place. Darkness, in its silence, becomes the midwife of light. You float in that realization. It feels poetic, almost tender, that the universe needed shadow to learn how to shine. Without dark matter's pull, the cosmic gas would have remained evenly spread, never clumping, never sparking. There would be no galaxies, no stars, no warmth, no us. The darkness is not absence. It is architecture. Imagine watching it unfold, as if from outside time. You see filaments of dark matter stretching across billions of light years, weaving a cosmic web. At the intersections, galaxies bloom like glowing seeds on invisible vines. The web shimmers not with light, but with influence, the unseen gravity that binds creation together. Astronomers, billions of years later, will map this structure through faint distortions of starlight called gravitational lensing. But here, in the beginning, there are no observers, only formation, only becoming. You drift closer to one of these newborn galaxies. Its stars burn fiercely, fusing hydrogen into helium, flooding space with ultraviolet light. The energy breaks apart atoms in the surrounding gas, reionizing the universe, making it transparent again. The cosmic fog thins, revealing distance for the first time. Every photon that leaves those early stars carries with it the story of dark matter's invisible hand. You realize you are surrounded by echoes of that moment, every beam of starlight, every spark in your own retina owes its existence to those ghosts. Breathe gently. The scale of this thought can feel overwhelming, so shrank it down for a moment. Within your own body, in every atom, are heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, iron-born inside later generations of stars. Those stars, too, formed because of dark matter's quiet gravity. The particles that hide, passing through you now, once shaped the ancestors of your atoms. You are built from the consequence of their invisible work. In you, the dark matter remembers itself. Let your mind follow the idea further back still. Physicists believe dark matter may have formed in the first microseconds after the Big Bang, when the universe was a roiling plasma of energy and particles colliding. As it cooled, most particles annihilated their opposites and disappeared. But dark matter endured stable, aloof, unwilling to react. It carried on through the eons unchanged, while everything else transformed. The ghosts are ancient beyond comprehension. They have seen every era of the cosmos unfold without ever aging. If you could watch them today, you would see them still moving through galaxies, swirling invisibly around every cluster of stars. They do not glow, but they guide. They shape spiral arms, dictate the pace of orbits, cradle galaxies in halos that extend far beyond their visible edges. We live inside one such halo now, the Milky Way's unseen cocoon. Trillions of dark matter particles drift through you each second, reminders of the ancient architecture that made you possible. You pause, feeling the humility of that. So much of existence is scaffolded by what we cannot perceive. Even within our minds, invisible forces, memories, emotions, hopes shape what we see. The cosmos mirrors us, luminous on the surface, mysterious underneath. Perhaps that is why contemplating dark matter feels intimate. It is not just out there. It is a metaphor folded into the fabric of being. Now picture the early universe again, its webs tightening. At the intersections, clusters form vast assemblies of galaxies, each a fire of billions of suns. Between them stretch voids, enormous and silent, almost empty. But even those voids are laced with a trace of the unseen, thin streams of dark matter flowing like ghost rivers through space. You imagine following one of those streams, gliding soundlessly for billions of light years. The stars thin out, but gravity's whisper remains. Astronomers sometimes call dark matter a cosmic skeleton. It is what the luminous flesh of galaxies hangs upon. Without it, there would be no coherence, only drift. You consider how this applies to everything, how every structure, from galaxies to thoughts, requires a framework of the unseen to hold it together. The invisible grants form to the visible. In that way, darkness does not oppose light, it completes it. Take another breath. The universe is older now. Billions of years have passed in your imagination. Stars have lived and died. Galaxies have merged, torn apart, reformed. But through all of it, dark matter remains quiet. It never burns, never cools, never ends. It simply exists, a constant reminder that creation depends not on noise, but on gravity, the gentle pull of belonging. And perhaps that is the lesson these cosmic ghosts offer, that strength need not be visible, and influence need not shout. The most profound forces often work in silence, shaping without seeking credit. You feel a kinship with that idea, a peace in it. To live like dark matter is to trust that what you hold together is enough, even if no one sees it. Now, as your thoughts rise back toward the present, the first galaxies dim behind you, their light stretched by expansion into faint infrared size. Space has grown vast, and time has slowed its rhythm. The ghosts remain invisible companions guiding the future. You imagine them passing through you once more, as gentle as breath, as ancient as time. They are the universe's memory of its own beginning, still moving, still shaping, still whispering to the light they helped create. You rest in that understanding that every bright thing owes its existence to something that never shines, that every dawn begins in shadow. And as you drift toward the next chapter, the thought lingers soft, unresolved, like a star just beyond your reach. If darkness gave birth to light, then perhaps light, too, carries a secret longing to return to the dark. Imagine time as a river so wide that even eternity looks small beside it. Now imagine that river flowing not through valleys or mountains, but through the fabric of the cosmos itself. Along its course, something invisible moves slowly, persistently, shaping the banks, carving the patterns, guiding the current. That something is dark matter, the universe's silent sculptor. Close your eyes and float backward across billions of years. Galaxies were once only faint ripples in a sea of matter and light. Gravity, the hand of the sculptor, worked slowly, patiently, pulling what was loose into form. There was no hurry. In the language of the cosmos, patience is creation. Dark matter gathered first, long before the galaxies we now see. Its gravity bent the path of ordinary matter, drawing gas into the invisible valleys it had carved. Over eons, these valleys deepened, filling with stars and dust, until they became the glowing clusters we call galaxies. Each one, from the smallest spiral to the largest elliptical, rests within an unseen halo of dark matter. Ghost framework defining its shape. You picture the process like an artist chiseling marble. Except this artist does not strike with force. Its tools are gravity and time. Its workshop, the entire universe. Each movement is a whisper of attraction. Each adjustment, a slow pull that takes millions of years. You begin to see galaxies not as accidents, but as sculptures of intention, balanced between chaos and calm. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of time settle into your chest. When the first galaxies formed, the universe was only a few 100 million years old. Now, more than 13 billion years later, that same gravitational artistry continues. Dark matter still shapes the paths of galaxies, herding them into filaments that stretch across the cosmic web. Between those filaments lie vast void expanses, so empty they defy imagination. Together, they form a pattern so intricate and vast that it looks like the neural network of some dreaming god. You can almost see it, a lattice of glowing clusters connected by dim threads of light. The Milky Way, your home, is just one bead on that grand cosmic string. And around each bead, the invisible hand of dark matter still works, holding the stars in their orbits, preventing them from flying apart. Scientists simulate these vast patterns on supercomputers, letting gravity alone, no light, no color paint, the structure of the universe. The results are astonishing. Filaments, knots, clusters, and empty spaces that match what telescopes observe. It is as though the universe were a sculpture first made of shadow, and only later illuminated by stars. Light came after form, not before. You imagine looking at one of those simulations as if it were a work of art. You trace the filaments with your eyes, the way one might follow brushstrokes in a painting. Each thread of matter represents billions of galaxies, each cluster a gathering of history. Yet what moves you most is what cannot be seen, the dark matter that gives the whole its shape. You realize then that art too often hides its scaffolding. The final beauty rests on unseen structure. Let your breath slow. Feel the rhythm of galaxies drifting through your thoughts like slow-moving clouds. Every one of them spins, dances, merges, breaks apart, and reforms, guided by the sculptor's invisible hand. Dark matter does not rush to completion. Its masterpiece is unfinished, always becoming dot. In that patience, there is a lesson. You think of your own life, how quickly you measure progress, how often you crave results. The cosmos whispers a different truth, that creation worth keeping takes time beyond measure. Even the smallest galaxy took billions of years to emerge from the quiet. Maybe the same is true for meaning, for understanding, for love. Maybe all are sculptures carved slowly by invisible hands. Now imagine a galactic collision, two spirals drawn together by gravity, their stars flung into vast arcs of light. To our eyes, it looks violent, a cosmic storm of chaos. But to the sculptor, it is simply another gesture, another curve shaped in the clay of space. Over hundreds of millions of years, the chaos settles. The stars find new orbits, and a new galaxy is born. Beauty from upheaval, order from motion, creation not as command, but as evolution. Dark matter guides these dances without ever shining itself. It is content to remain unseen, its influence felt but never visible. There is something noble in that restraint, elegance in remaining silent while shaping everything. You can almost feel its humility, its devotion to balance rather than display. It holds the stars the way gravity holds your own body to the earth, gently, persistently, without need for recognition. Take another breath. The universe has expanded enormously by now, its filaments stretching thinner, its clusters drifting apart, but the pattern endures, frozen in slow motion. Astronomers call it the large-scale structure, a map of cosmic architecture so vast that light itself takes billions of years to cross it. It is the sculpture of all sculptures, built not from stone or light, but from gravity's long memory. Sometimes scientists try to describe how it will end. Will the filaments stretch until galaxies fall away from each other, leaving only darkness again? Or will new structures emerge, carved by the same patient hand in some future we cannot yet imagine? The truth is unknown. Perhaps the sculptor never stops. Perhaps it only changes medium. You think about the hands of time, how they smooth mountains, shift rivers, erode cliffs. On Earth, we see their marks over centuries. In the cosmos, those same principles play out over eons, with dark matter as their tool. The sculptor's art is gravity itself, the pull of belonging that shapes both stone and star. Everywhere you look, the same law hums beneath existence. The universe is one long act of cohesion. Now, picture yourself rising high above it all. Galaxies appear as grains of dust, filaments as faint threads. The entire cosmic web glows dimly, its pattern steady, immense, eternal. The sculptor's work is still unfolding, each motion so slow you could mistake it for stillness. But stillness, you realize, is only movement stretched beyond your perception. You hover there for a moment, suspended in that realization. Creation need not be loud. It can be almost imperceptible, adrift, a pull, a patience that rewrites the very shape of space. You feel that patience within yourself now, as if the same gravity that holds galaxies also steadies your breath. Dark matter's art is not about domination, but harmony. Every spiral arm, every orbiting star, every drifting cloud of gas follows a rhythm it set long ago. Even the chaos of supernova, the collapse of black holes, the rise of clusters all move to its ancient tempo. It is less an artist and more a conductor, ensuring that everything plays its part in the cosmic symphony. And yet, for all its influence, the sculptor remains hidden. We detect its presence only by what it allows others to become. The galaxies are its shadows cast in light, its signature written in gravity. You think of artists who never signed their work, who let beauty speak for itself. Perhaps the universe, too, prefers anonymity. Take one last breath. The air feels vast now, as though you are breathing space itself. You sense how everything from the smallest atom to the largest cluster moves to the same music of attraction. You are part of that song, one of its quiet notes. The sculptor's hand is around you, within you, through you. As the image of the cosmic web fades, you are left with a single, simple truth, that the universe was never truly built. It was shaped, lovingly and slowly, by what could not be seen. And in that shaping lies a lesson whispered across time, that what endures is not what burns brightest, but what pulls together, softly, through every darkness. You rest in that thought, feeling the calm gravity of it settle through your being. And as the chapter closes, a gentle question forms at the edge of your mind, reaching toward what comes next. If dark matter sculpted galaxies, then what invisible hand sculpted us? Imagine two vast galaxies rushing toward one another. Each holds billions of stars, clouds of gas, and an invisible halo of dark matter reaching far beyond what any telescope can see. For hundreds of millions of years, they drift closer, drawn by gravity's quiet pull. Then, slowly, almost politely, they begin to overlap. You would expect chaos, stars shattering, planets flung into oblivion. But the universe does not collide the way we think. Space is mostly empty. When galaxies merge, their stars pass through one another, like ghosts crossing paths in fog. The real collision happens elsewhere, among the clouds of gas and the hidden masses of dark matter that surround them. Take a breath. Picture this dance in slow motion. Two shimmering spirals, their luminous arms stretching like silk ribbons in water. The stars glide through, untouched, while the gas clouds crash head-on, heating to millions of degrees. Shock waves ripple outward, invisible yet immense. For a brief moment, the galaxies resemble ripples meeting on a pond, a pattern of interference written in light dot. Now imagine looking at such an encounter from across space and time. What you would see is called the Bullet Cluster, a pair of colliding galaxy clusters about 3.8 billion light-years away. Its name comes from the shape of the smaller cluster plowing through the larger one, leaving behind a faint, bullet-shaped wake of hot gas. But what makes it extraordinary is not its beauty. It is what the collision revealed about the invisible. When astronomers first mapped the Bullet Cluster, they saw something strange. The X-ray images showed glowing gas concentrated in the center, the result of the impact. But when they measured the gravity of the region using gravitational lensing, the way mass bends light from more distant galaxies, the peaks of gravity did not line up with the light. The stars and gas had gone one way, the mass had gone another. It was as if two transparent ghosts had walked through each other, leaving the luminous matter behind. Those ghosts were dark matter halos. For the first time, the separation between visible and invisible could be seen, not guessed, not calculated, but photographed in the sky. The Bullet Cluster became a cosmic X-ray of truth, proof that dark matter was not just a mathematical convenience, but a real, independent form of mass. You pause with that image in your mind. Two clusters drifting apart after collision. Light and mass no longer perfectly aligned. It feels like watching the universe reveal its skeleton. The luminous bones displaced, the invisible frame standing firm. Breathe slowly. You can almost feel the scale of it. Galaxies passing through one another. Each cluster hundreds of millions of light-years across. The collision lasted hundreds of millions of years, yet to the universe it was a blink, an instant of rearrangement. In that instant, gravity painted a portrait of the unseen. The Bullet Cluster is not alone. Other clusters, the Trainwreck, El Gordo, and Able 520, have offered similar evidence. Each one a different snapshot of dark matter behaving differently from the matter we know. Each one a clue in a slow cosmic investigation. Through them, we learn that dark matter does not collide or slow down like gas. It passes straight through, unaffected, silent, steady. It interacts only by gravity, as if it refuses all other forms of contact. You imagine those halos now, gliding through one another with the grace of dancers who never touch. Their paths curve and twist, shaping the orbits of stars around them. Their invisible fields stretch far beyond the boundaries of the galaxies themselves, like ripples spreading beyond a stone's splash. It is strange to think that we live within one of those halos, an invisible sphere of matter larger than our galaxy, and yet so ghostly we cannot feel it. Close your eyes. Picture yourself inside the Milky Way's dark matter halo. Every second, trillions of dark matter particles pass through your body, your home, the air around you. They are indifferent to you, but they are essential to everything that keeps you in place. Without them, our galaxy's stars would drift apart. Gravity alone from normal matter would not be enough to hold them. The invisible makes the visible possible. Now return to the Bullet Cluster. Imagine being a photon, a particle of light, traveling from a galaxy far beyond it. As you pass near the cluster, space itself bends around the mass ahead. You do not know that you are bending, only that your path curves gracefully, your destination slightly shifted. When that light finally reaches Earth, billions of years later, astronomers can map how it was distorted. From those distortions, they reconstruct the weight of the invisible. It is a kind of cosmic fingerprinting, the universe catching its own reflection in light. The image of the bullet cluster is haunting. Blue regions mark where the dark matter lies. Pink clouds show the hot gas. They are displaced, like two ghosts diverging after an embrace. You can almost feel the tension between them, the luminous world trying to keep up with the unseen one. It reminds you of all the ways in which visible things often follow hidden causes. Tides following the moon, leaves following the wind, hearts following unspoken feelings. Dark matter teaches this lesson on a grand scale. The visible universe is reactive, not original. It responds to what cannot be seen. You find that idea strangely comforting. There is beauty in knowing that not everything that matters can be measured directly. Scientists still debate what dark matter actually is. WIMPs, ixions, sterile neutrinos, something more exotic still. The bullet cluster does not tell us what, only that. It tells us that the invisible has weight, that gravity itself listens to it, and in doing so, it whispers something profound, that knowledge does not always come from seeing, but from watching how light behaves in its absence. You let that sink in, feeling the patience of discovery itself. Astronomy often works at this scale, millions of years for the subject, decades for the observation, a few heartbeats for the realization. When the bullet cluster's image was first published, it rippled through the scientific world like a quiet revelation. Here was the universe performing its own experiment, two clusters colliding, separating, and proving a theory that had existed only in equations. It was physics by accident, evidence written in the sky. Take another slow breath. You begin to sense that dark matter's nature is not just a question of physics, but of philosophy. The idea that something unseen can shape everything else that form depends on the formless, echoes through art, faith, and memory. We, too, are shaped by what we cannot touch: time, emotion, the gravity of thought. The cosmos simply performs this truth on a larger stage. Now imagine the two clusters drifting farther apart, cooling in the aftermath of collision. The shockwave of gas fades to silence. The halos continue their long journey, their invisible gravity fields merging with the cosmic web beyond. The sculpture is redrawn. The artist never stops working. You float above them in your imagination, seeing the faint blue shadows of dark matter superimposed on the pink glow of hot gas. It looks almost like a double exposure to realities coexisting, one of light, one of weight. And somewhere in that layered image lies the story of all creation, light following gravity, visibility chasing the unseen. The universe, it seems, reveals itself most clearly when it collides. Through impact, separation becomes illumination. Through motion, mystery gains form. You realize this might be true for more than galaxies, that we, too, sometimes understand only when we are moved, only when something within us collides with what is unknown. Breathe once more. The bullet cluster fades from view, but its lesson remains that light and darkness are not opposites, but partners in revelation. Together, they paint the story of existence. One shines, the other shapes. One speaks, the other listens. And as you drift toward the next thought, a new question begins to take form, delicate and bright. If collisions can expose the hidden structure of the universe, What hidden structures might the quietness of our own world reveal if only we learned how to look as patiently as the stars? Close your eyes. The universe around you grows quiet, its stars distant, its galaxies still. For a moment, you imagine that all the invisible scaffolding, the dark matter halos, the unseen webs of gravity simply fade away. What remains is only the visible light, dust, and time. The cosmos becomes simpler, cleaner, almost understandable. And yet, it feels incomplete, as though something essential has been erased. Now imagine that this vanishing is not fantasy, but theory. For decades, a small but persistent chorus of scientists has wondered if perhaps the invisible is not missing matter at all, but missing understanding. Maybe the universe does not need extra mass to explain its motions. Maybe gravity itself behaves differently than we think, bending more softly or more strongly in places where light cannot measure. It is a radical thought, one that shakes the foundation of physics. Because gravity, as we know it, is our oldest and most trusted friend in the language of the cosmos. It governs the fall of apples and the dance of planets. It binds stars into galaxies and galaxies into clusters. But what if, like all old friends, it still holds secrets? You drift in this question, letting it unfold like a slow exhale. Einstein's general relativity describes gravity not as a force, but as the curvature of space-time. Mass tells space how to curve, and space tells matter how to move. It is elegant, precise, tested, but the scales on which Einstein's equations have been confirmed are human and stellar not. When we look across billions of light years, the rules might whisper differently. Some physicists call this modified Newtonian dynamics, or MOND for short. The idea began in the 1980s with Mordechai, who noticed that at the faint edges of galaxies, where stars rotate too quickly for visible matter to explain, perhaps gravity weakens in an unexpected way. Instead of fading neatly with distance, it lingers its grip looser but longer. That single adjustment could, in theory, explain galactic motion without invoking dark matter at all. Others have proposed extensions, TEVs, emergent gravity, or quantumized tweaks to Einstein's space-time fabric. Each idea bends the rules a little differently, like musicians improvising on an old melody. Some versions imagine that gravity itself might arise from deeper laws, perhaps entanglement or thermodynamics at the edge of the universe. In these views, dark matter is not a thing. It's a shadow cast by gravity's more complex nature. You picture the scientists who pursue these theories, their offices lined with chalkboards, each one covered in looping symbols and arrows. They erase and rewrite day after day, chasing harmony between math and observation. They are not rebels, though they may sound like it. They are believers in mystery, the conviction that not knowing is a beginning, not a failure. Take a slow breath. You can feel how tender that balance is, between belief and doubt, between established truth and creative speculation. Science, after all, lives not in answers, but in the spaces between them. It is a discipline that thrives on discomfort, on the courage to say, maybe. And so these alternative thinkers are not denying dark matter. They are keeping curiosity alive. Imagine now that gravity truly does behave differently at great distances. You picture it not as a single unchanging law, but as a language, with dialects Newtonian in the solar system, Einsteinian near black holes, and something gentler, more poetic across the galaxies. Perhaps the universe adjusts its own syntax as it expands, whispering new forms of attraction as the voids grow wider. The laws we call fundamental might, in truth, be evolving stories. This idea does not reject wonder, it deepens it. Because if gravity itself can change, then the universe becomes even more alive, more flexible, more creative than we imagined. It becomes a painter revising its own canvas, adjusting brushstrokes with each passing billion years. And yet, there is humility here, too. Most astronomers still find the evidence for dark matter more compelling. The bullet cluster, the cosmic microwave background, the structure of galaxies all point toward invisible mass as the simplest explanation. The alternative theories struggle to fit every observation at once. But even so, they serve a sacred role. They remind science to stay awake, to never mistake consensus for completion. You pause and imagine this as a conversation between two friends, dark matter and modified gravity, each arguing gently for truth. One says, "I am real. You just can't see me." The other replies, "No, you've misunderstood how the world works." And somewhere between them, the universe smiles, knowing it contains pieces of both. You let that thought rest like a pebble in a river. Truth flows around it, smooth and ongoing. Maybe the distinction between these theories is less about correctness and more about perspective. Whether the mystery lies in missing matter or in misunderstood laws, the mystery itself is what keeps discovery breathing. It is the pulse beneath every experiment, every equation, every long night spent listening for the faint whispers of the cosmos. Now, imagine yourself in one of those underground laboratories again, surrounded by quiet detectors. The scientists above ground point telescopes toward galaxies, searching for distortions of light that might betray hidden mass. Others, far away, run simulations on computers that mimic the evolution of the universe under both models, with dark matter, without it. The data streams in patterns, graphs, possibilities. No single result is perfect. Each one adds texture, not conclusion. The mystery deepens, but so does the beauty. Take another breath. You realize that science, like art, is not about removing uncertainty. It is about shaping it into meaning. Even when the evidence favors one story, the others must still be told, for they sharpen the edges of understanding. Without contrast, even truth becomes dull. You think of Galileo looking through his telescope, of Newton under his apple tree, of Einstein lost in thought on his bicycle. Each of them saw not certainty, but questions. Each of them dared to think that what everyone else assumed might only be the beginning. Perhaps, in the same way, the scientists questioning dark matter are part of that same lineage of wonder. Not contrarians, but caretakers of possibility. The air feels softer now, the darkness less heavy. You picture the universe as a vast library, its shelves lined with theories like books, some well-worn, others freshly written, each page filled with equations, metaphors, experiments. Science moves not by replacing these volumes, but by reading them all, finding the threads that connect one story to the next. And so, you rest in the awareness that it does not matter, at least not tonight. Whether dark matter exists as particles or as misunderstood gravity, what matters is that we keep listening, keep asking, keep being surprised, because mystery is not the opposite of knowledge. It is its source. It is what keeps the flame alive in the long night of discovery. You breathe again, slowly, deeply. In this stillness, you feel gratitude for the unknown. The universe remains bigger than our models, stranger than our math, more alive than our predictions. That is not failure, is grace. The cosmos does not need to be simple to be beautiful. As the chapter draws to a close, you picture yourself drifting through the stars, surrounded by questions like lanterns. Some glow brighter than others, but all illuminate the same infinite space. You do not need every answer. You only need to keep wondering. And as that thought settles like dust in low gravity, a quiet invitation emerges at the edge of your mind. If even gravity can surprise us, what other forces of nature, still hidden and unnamed, might be waiting to rewrite the story of everything we think we know? Take a slow breath. The galaxies that filled your imagination now drift away from one another, like lanterns carried on a widening river. The space between them grows. The river itself swells. You can almost hear the sound of expansions, soft, steady, eternal. It was not always so. For a long time, astronomers assumed that the universe's growth, ignited by the Big Bang, must be slowing down. Gravity, after all, pulls everything inward. It binds stars to galaxies, and galaxies to clusters. Surely, across cosmic time, that pull should be winning. But in 1998, when scientists measured the light of distant supernovae exploding stars, so bright they can outshine entire galaxies, they found something unexpected. The universe wasn't slowing. It was speeding up. Take another breath and imagine their surprise. All of physics expected the cosmos to be a decelerating story. Instead, it was a runaway. The galaxies were racing away faster and faster, as though some unseen force were pushing on the very fabric of space. That push came to be called dark energy. No one knows what dark energy is. It could be the energy of empty space itself, something Einstein once included in his equations, then called his greatest mistake. Or it might be a new kind of field, subtle and pervasive, filling every corner of the universe. Whatever its nature, it now dominates the cosmos, nearly 70% of all existence. You close your eyes and imagine that most of everything is not matter at all, but a gentle pressure inside the void. You picture space stretching, not like a balloon filling with air, but like a fabric quietly loosening its weave. Galaxies do not move through space. Space itself expands between them. Every moment, the distance doubles, the threads lengthen. You are part of that stretching. Every atom in your body carried imperceptibly outward by it. It happens too slowly for you to feel, but across billions of years, it changes everything. Dark energy and dark matter, two halves of a cosmic sentence. One pulls, one pushes, one gathers, one releases. Together, they compose the rhythm of existence, a balance between cohesion and freedom. Without dark matter, galaxies would never have formed. Without dark energy, they would have collapsed back together. You rest in the thought that even the universe needs tension to stay alive. Breathe softly. The more scientists study the cosmos, the stranger the story becomes. Dark matter shapes structure. Dark energy shapes destiny. We live between these two mysteries, suspended in their quiet dialogue. In every direction, the galaxies recede, the universe expanding like a held note that will never fade. It is the soundless hum of creation continuing. You drift backward through time again. 14 billion years ago, the universe was dense, hot, and glowing. Dark energy was present then, but silent, overpowered by matter's gravity. Galaxies formed, stars were born, and died. But as space grew and matter thinned, dark energy began to dominate. Its gentle pressure became the conductor of cosmic fate, orchestrating an ever-accelerating expansion. Now, in the present age, it leads the dance. You imagine this on a grand stage. Dark matter stands in shadow, gathering form, shaping galaxies with invisible hands. Across from it, dark energy steps forward, unseen but vast, guiding the tempo of separation. They never touch, yet they move in harmony. Their duet spans eternity, the quiet choreography of pull and push, gravity and growth. Some cosmologists call dark energy the cosmological constant. Others think it might change over time, like a slow tide rising through space. There are even whispers that it might someday reverse, turning the expansion back into contraction. In the language of physics, these are hypotheses. In the language of poetry, they are moods of the universe. Even the cosmos, it seems, breathes in and out. You let that image settle in you. A universe that inhales and exhales over eons, each breath lasting billions of years. You are part of one of those breaths. Now the exhale, the expansion. Everything you know drifts outward in this great, quiet sigh. Galaxies, like embers in cooling air. Light stretched thinner and redder as it travels through the swelling void. It is not loneliness. It is openness, space making room for itself. Dark energy does not push violently. Its touch is tender, like silk drawn through fingers. It acts evenly, everywhere, without edges or direction. In that uniformity lies its mystery. How can something so gentle steer something so vast? You realize that the universe's greatest forces are not always the loudest. Some create by holding together. Others create by letting go. Take another slow breath. Dark energy is invisible, but its fingerprints are everywhere. We see it in the accelerating galaxies, in the faint pattern of microwave radiation left from the Big Bang, in the way space curves more than mass alone should allow. It is not an intruder in the story, it is the story's continuation. The same expansion that began in fire now moves in silence, cooling into grace. You picture a future far beyond human time. Stars burn out, galaxies fade. Dark energy continues its steady work, drawing every island of light farther from the next. Eventually, distances grow so great that no new light can reach from one galaxy to another. Each becomes its own isolated universe, glowing softly in solitude. It sounds melancholy, but it isn't. It is peace on a cosmic scale, the long quiet after the song. And yet, the story is not finished. The universe is not only expanding, it is thinking. Through us, it reflects upon itself. The atoms that dark matter once gathered into stars now form eyes, minds, awareness. We are the instruments through which the universe feels its own unfolding. To contemplate dark energy is to participate in the very act it performs. To expand our own boundaries of understanding. You think again of that phrase, dark energy joins the story. It did not begin the tale, but it will shape the ending. And maybe that is how all stories work. The universe holds both within it, gravity's embrace and expansion's letting go. You realize that you, too, live between these forces, between holding on and allowing change. The lesson is cosmic but intimate. Balance is not stillness. It is motion that does not break. You let your mind wander through that thought. Perhaps the secret of the universe is not hidden in equations or particles, but in relationships, in the interplay between opposites that never destroy each other. Light and dark, matter and energy, pull and push. Every contrast creates music when allowed to coexist. Now, imagine yourself floating at the edge of everything, looking back across billions of years. You see galaxies streaming outward, filaments stretching, the cosmic web thinning under expansion's touch. You do not feel small. You feel connected. The same dark energy that drives the galaxies apart also flows through the space inside you. You are, in some infinitesimal way, part of its expansion, a witness and participant in the universe's widening breadth. The thought brings stillness. You rest in the quiet confidence that mystery endures. Science will continue to measure, to test, to refine, but the unknown will always remain, whispering just beyond the horizon. That whisper is not a flaw. It is the pulse of discovery. It is what keeps the universe alive, what keeps us listening. And as this chapter closes, you picture the cosmos itself as a living, balanced, dark matter gathering, dark energy releasing, the two unseen partners shaping time and space into harmony. Their duet continues beyond sight, beyond comprehension, beyond end, and you, drifting somewhere in the middle, breathe with them a single heartbeat in the long, expanding song of creation. Breathe slowly. You are no longer floating among distant galaxies or watching clusters collide in deep space. You are here on Earth, within your familiar body, surrounded by air and light. Yet all around you and within you, the same mystery continues. The dark matter that shapes galaxies also fills this room. It flows through the walls, through the ground beneath your feet, through your chest as you breathe. It does not pause for stone or flesh. It is invisible, yet everywhere. You close your eyes and imagine it as a silent current, a cosmic river that never stops. It moves through the solar system like wind through tall grass, unseen but constant. Every second, trillions of dark matter particles slip through your body without leaving a mark. You do not feel them, yet their presence holds the universe together. Without them, the Milky Way would fall apart, its stars scattering like sparks in a breeze. You are, in this very moment, drifting within the same invisible ocean that steadies the galaxies. It is a strange intimacy. Something unimaginably ancient and vast is moving through you. Now particles born before the first stars lit the sky. They pass through mountains, oceans, and atmosphere as easily as light passes through glass. They do not scatter or stick or slow. They are impartial, constant, untouched by the things that shape your ordinary world. You are immersed in them as a fish is immersed in water. Only you cannot see the water, cannot feel the current, cannot know its texture. Take another slow breath. You begin to sense how full emptiness really is. The space between atoms, once thought to be nothing, is crowded with invisible visitors. Dark matter forms halos around every galaxy, yet those halos extend far beyond the reach of stars. Our own Milky Way's halo stretches for hundreds of thousands of light years in every direction. Earth drifts within that vast bubble like a dust mote inside a sunbeam. We orbit not just our star, but the unseen gravity that surrounds it. Scientists have tried to catch this invisible rain deep underground, in caverns beneath mountains. Detectors, weight tanks of liquid xenon or argon, chilled close to absolute zero. They listen for the faintest tremor, the softest flash of light that might reveal a dark matter particle colliding with an atom. Years pass in silence. No signal yet confirmed, no particle captured. Still, the experiments continue, patient as prayer, because every so often, a whisper of data appears, a flicker that says, perhaps, and in that word lies all the wonder of discovery. You picture one of those detectors now, enormous, silent, surrounded by stone older than life. It is dark there, so dark that you can hear your own heartbeat in the imagination of it. The detector waits in stillness, the way the ocean waits for a single drop of rain. Above, snow may be falling. Below, the earth glows faintly with its own heat. And through it all, the dark matter flows and caring, unstoppable, continuous. The experiment is not about forcing revelation. It is about learning to listen to what rarely speaks. You begin to understand that invisibility is not absence, it is patience. The cosmos hides its deepest truths, not to withhold them, but to invite curiosity. We are meant to search, to wonder, to reach into what we cannot see. Dark matter teaches humility, the reminder that even when we think we know the world, most of it lies beyond perception. Now, imagine looking up at the night sky. Each star you see, every glowing band of the Milky Way, floats inside that same halo of the unseen. The galaxy spins within it like a leaf caught in a quiet whirlpool. The dark matter itself has no color, no reflection, no resistance to light, but its gravity sculpts the visible universe. It is the framework upon which the stars rest, the hidden architecture of reality in your mind. You stretch this awareness outward, from your body to the planet, from the planet to the solar system, from the solar system to the galactic halo. Every step outward expands your sense of connection. You are not standing on the surface of a rock. You are suspended in a sea of invisible gravity that binds you to everything else. The same unseen currents that hold distant galaxies in place also cradle you. The cosmos does not stop at the edge of your vision. It continues here, in this quiet moment, flowing through your every cell. Take another breath. The air enters your lungs, but the dark matter passes through unbuttoned. It ignores chemistry, temperature, pressure. It does not care whether it moves through rock or through thought. It is pure persistence, the memory of creation made gentle. You imagine tracing one of those particles backward in time, all the way to the first microseconds after the Big Bang. It has never scattered, never absorbed, never changed. It is older than stars, older than galaxies, older than the light that lets you see. There is a calmness in knowing that something so ancient surrounds you. It humbles the urgency of human time. We hurry through hours and decades, while these particles glide unaltered through billions of years. To them, our whole history is a flicker, our civilizations a blink. And yet, here we are, conscious enough to wonder about them. That wondering, you realize, is its own kind of visibility. Through our curiosity, the universe becomes aware of its hidden self. You think about how many things in life move unseen, yet hold everything together. Gravity, air, memory, love, thought, each invisible, each essential. Perhaps dark matter is simply another reminder that reality's strength lies not in what we can grasp, but in what we can trust without proof. You feel that trust settling in you now, as quiet and steady as gravity. The scientists continue to build new experiment satellites orbiting Earth, detectors sunk in Antarctic ice, arrays of sensors spread across the desert, each one a kind of ear pressed against the cosmic floor, listening for the footsteps of the unseen. Their patience is long because the question is vast. What is the universe made of? Maybe one day a signal will arrive, faint but unmistakable. Maybe it already has, buried in noise we haven't yet learned to interpret. Until then, the silence itself is part of the answer. It tells us that the universe still holds its secrets close, asking us to keep looking. Now open your mind's eye wider. Imagine Earth orbiting the sun circling the center of the Milky Way, and the Milky Way gliding through its dark halo. The entire solar system moves through the invisible stream at hundreds of kilometers per second. You are riding that flow like a swimmer carried by a deep, slow current. No resistance, no splash, just endless motion through unseen water. The stars around you appear still, but everything is moving. Everything is being carried. You pause in that thought, and a strange peace fills you. To exist is to be part of motion too vast to control, to belong to something invisible yet constant. The cosmos is not a stage upon which you stand. It is an ocean in which you drift, alive with unseen tides. And dark matter is the soft gravity that keeps the waves coherent, the still rhythm behind the endless change. You breathe again, slower this time. Each inhale feels larger, as though space itself enters your chest. You feel the invisible currents passing through, and for a heartbeat, the boundary between you and the universe dissolves. There is no separation on the continuity. You are not outside the cosmos looking in. You are part of its invisible structure, a ripple in the same field that holds galaxies together. And as that realization settles, you begin to sense the next mystery calling the opposite force of the one that binds. If dark matter gathers, what is it that expands? What unseen energy breathes the universe wider with each passing second? The thought glimmers at the edge of your awareness, a promise, a continuation. You rest there, weightless in the invisible sea, knowing that even in the unseen you are held. Dark matter flows through you, steady as breath, and you float quietly in its embrace, a small, luminous awareness suspended inside an endless, invisible universe. Some glow brighter than others, but all illuminate the same infinite space. You do not need every answer. You only need to keep wondering. And as that thought settles like dust in low gravity, a quiet invitation emerges at the edge of your mind. If even gravity can surprise us, what other forces of nature, still hidden and unnamed, might be waiting to rewrite the story of everything we think we know? Take a slow breath. The galaxies that filled your imagination now drift away from one another, like lanterns carried on a widening river. The space between them grows. The river itself swells. You can almost hear the sound of expansions, soft, steady, eternal. It was not always so. For a long time, astronomers assumed that the universe's growth, ignited by the Big Bang, must be slowing down. Gravity, after all, pulls everything inward. It binds stars to galaxies, and galaxies to clusters. Surely, across cosmic time, that pull should be winning. But in 1998, when scientists measured the light of distant supernovae exploding stars, so bright they can outshine entire galaxies, they found something unexpected. The universe wasn't slowing. It was speeding up. Take another breath and imagine their surprise. All of physics expected the cosmos to be a decelerating story. Instead, it was a runaway. The galaxies were racing away faster and faster, as though some unseen force were pushing on the very fabric of space. That push came to be called dark energy. No one knows what dark energy is. It could be the energy of empty space itself, something Einstein once included in his equations, then called his greatest mistake. Or it might be a new kind of field, subtle and pervasive, filling every corner of the universe. Whatever its nature, it now dominates the cosmos, nearly 70% of all existence. You close your eyes and imagine that most of everything is not matter at all, but a gentle pressure inside the void. You picture space stretching, not like a balloon filling with air, but like a fabric quietly loosening its weave. Galaxies do not move through space. Space itself expands between them. Every moment, the distance doubles, the threads lengthen. You are part of that stretching. Every atom in your body carried imperceptibly outward by it. It happens too slowly for you to feel, but across billions of years, it changes everything. Dark energy and dark matter, two halves of a cosmic sentence. One pulls, one pushes, one gathers, one releases. Together, they compose the rhythm of existence, a balance between cohesion and freedom. Without dark matter, galaxies would never have formed. Without dark energy, they would have collapsed back together. You rest in the thought that even the universe needs tension to stay alive. Breathe softly. The more scientists study the cosmos, the stranger the story becomes. Dark matter shapes structure. Dark energy shapes destiny. We live between these two mysteries, suspended in their quiet dialogue. In every direction, the galaxies recede, the universe expanding like a held note that will never fade. It is the soundless hum of creation continuing. You drift backward through time again. 14 billion years ago, the universe was dense, hot, and glowing. Dark energy was present then, but silent, overpowered by matter's gravity. Galaxies formed, stars were born, and died. But as space grew and matter thinned, dark energy began to dominate. Its gentle pressure became the conductor of cosmic fate, orchestrating an ever-accelerating expansion. Now, in the present age, it leads the dance. You imagine this on a grand stage. Dark matter stands in shadow, gathering form, shaping galaxies with invisible hands. Across from it, dark energy steps forward, unseen but vast, guiding the tempo of separation. They never touch, yet they move in harmony. Their duet spans eternity, the quiet choreography of pull and push, gravity and growth. Some cosmologists call dark energy the cosmological constant. Others think it might change over time, like a slow tide rising through space. There are even whispers that it might someday reverse, turning the expansion back into contraction. In the language of physics, these are hypotheses. In the language of poetry, they are moods of the universe. Even the cosmos, it seems, breathes in and out. You let that image settle in you. A universe that inhales and exhales over eons, each breath lasting billions of years. You are part of one of those breaths. Now the exhale, the expansion. Everything you know drifts outward in this great, quiet sigh. Galaxies, like embers in cooling air. Light stretched thinner and redder as it travels through the swelling void. It is not loneliness. It is openness, space making room for itself. Dark energy does not push violently. Its touch is tender, like silk drawn through fingers. It acts evenly, everywhere, without edges or direction. In that uniformity lies its mystery. How can something so gentle steer something so vast? You realize that the universe's greatest forces are not always the loudest. Some create by holding together. Others create by letting go. Take another slow breath. Dark energy is invisible, but its fingerprints are everywhere. We see it in the accelerating galaxies, in the faint pattern of microwave radiation left from the Big Bang, in the way space curves more than mass alone should allow. It is not an intruder in the story, it is the story's continuation. The same expansion that began in fire now moves in silence, cooling into grace. You picture a future far beyond human time. Stars burn out, galaxies fade. Dark energy continues its steady work, drawing every island of light farther from the next. Eventually, distances grow so great that no new light can reach from one galaxy to another. Each becomes its own isolated universe, glowing softly in solitude. It sounds melancholy, but it isn't. It is peace on a cosmic scale, the long quiet after the song. And yet, the story is not finished. The universe is not only expanding, it is thinking. Through us, it reflects upon itself. The atoms that dark matter once gathered into stars now form eyes, minds, awareness. We are the instruments through which the universe feels its own unfolding. To contemplate dark energy is to participate in the very act it performs, to expand our own boundaries of understanding. You think again of that phrase, dark energy joins the story. It did not begin the tale, but it will shape the ending. And maybe that is how all stories work. The universe holds both within it, gravity's embrace and expansion's letting go. You realize that you, too, live between these forces, between holding on and allowing change. The lesson is cosmic but intimate. Balance is not stillness. It is motion that does not break. You let your mind wander through that thought. Perhaps the secret of the universe is not hidden in equations or particles, but in relationships, in the interplay between opposites that never destroy each other. Light and dark, matter and energy, pull and push. Every contrast creates music when allowed to coexist. Now, imagine yourself floating at the edge of everything, looking back across billions of years. You see galaxies streaming outward, filaments stretching, the cosmic web thinning under expansion's touch. You do not feel small. You feel connected. The same dark energy that drives the galaxies apart also flows through the space inside you. You are, in some infinitesimal way, part of its expansion, a witness and participant in the universe's widening breadth. The thought brings stillness. You rest in the quiet confidence that mystery endures. Science will continue to measure, to test, to refine, but the unknown will always remain, whispering just beyond the horizon. That whisper is not a flaw. It is the pulse of discovery. It is what keeps the universe alive, what keeps us listening. And as this chapter closes, you picture the cosmos itself as a living, balanced, dark matter gathering, dark energy releasing, the two unseen partners shaping time and space into harmony. Their duet continues beyond sight, beyond comprehension, beyond end, and you, drifting somewhere in the middle, breathe with them a single heartbeat in the long, expanding song of creation. Breathe slowly. You are no longer floating among distant galaxies or watching clusters collide in deep space. You are here on Earth, within your familiar body, surrounded by air and light. Yet all around you and within you, the same mystery continues. The dark matter that shapes galaxies also fills this room. It flows through the walls, through the ground beneath your feet, through your chest as you breathe. It does not pause for stone or flesh. It is invisible, yet everywhere. You close your eyes and imagine it as a silent current, a cosmic river that never stops. It moves through the solar system like wind through tall grass, unseen but constant. Every second, trillions of dark matter particles slip through your body without leaving a mark. You do not feel them, yet their presence holds the universe together. Without them, the Milky Way would fall apart, its stars scattering like sparks in a breeze. You are, in this very moment, drifting within the same invisible ocean that steadies the galaxies. It is a strange intimacy. Something unimaginably ancient and vast is moving through you. Now particles born before the first stars lit the sky. They pass through mountains, oceans, and atmosphere as easily as light passes through glass. They do not scatter or stick or slow. They are impartial, constant, untouched by the things that shape your ordinary world. You are immersed in them as a fish is immersed in water. Only you cannot see the water, cannot feel the current, cannot know its texture. Take another slow breath. You begin to sense how full emptiness really is. The space between atoms, once thought to be nothing, is crowded with invisible visitors. Dark matter forms halos around every galaxy, yet those halos extend far beyond the reach of stars. Our own Milky Way's halo stretches for hundreds of thousands of light years in every direction. Earth drifts within that vast bubble like a dust mote inside a sunbeam. We orbit not just our star, but the unseen gravity that surrounds it. Scientists have tried to catch this invisible rain deep underground, in caverns beneath mountains. Detectors, weight tanks of liquid xenon or argon, chilled close to absolute zero. They listen for the faintest tremor, the softest flash of light that might reveal a dark matter particle colliding with an atom. Years pass in silence. No signal yet confirmed, no particle captured. Still, the experiments continue, patient as prayer, because every so often, a whisper of data appears, a flicker that says, perhaps. And in that word lies all the wonder of discovery. You picture one of those detectors now, enormous, silent, surrounded by stone older than life. It is dark there, so dark that you can hear your own heartbeat in the imagination of it. The detector waits in stillness, the way the ocean waits for a single drop of rain. Above, snow may be falling. Below, the earth glows faintly with its own heat. And through it all, the dark matter flows and caring, unstoppable, continuous. The experiment is not about forcing revelation. It is about learning to listen to what rarely speaks. You begin to understand that invisibility is not absence. It is patience. The cosmos hides its deepest truths, not to withhold them, but to invite curiosity. We are meant to search, to wonder, to reach into what we cannot see. Dark matter teaches humility, the reminder that even when we think we know the world, most of it lies beyond perception. Now, imagine looking up at the night sky. Each star you see, every glowing band of the Milky Way, floats inside that same halo of the unseen. The galaxy spins within it like a leaf caught in a quiet whirlpool. The dark matter itself has no color, no reflection, no resistance to light, but its gravity sculpts the visible universe. It is the framework upon which the stars rest, the hidden architecture of reality in your mind. You stretch this awareness outward, from your body to the planet, from the planet to the solar system, from the solar system to the galactic halo. Every step outward expands your sense of connection. You are not standing on the surface of a rock. You are suspended in a sea of invisible gravity that binds you to everything else. The same unseen currents that hold distant galaxies in place also cradle you. The cosmos does not stop at the edge of your vision. It continues here, in this quiet moment, flowing through your every cell. Take another breath. The air enters your lungs, but the dark matter passes through unbothered. It ignores chemistry, temperature, pressure. It does not care whether it moves through rock or through thought. It is pure persistence, the memory of creation made gentle. You imagine tracing one of those particles backward in time, all the way to the first microseconds after the Big Bang. It has never scattered, never absorbed, never changed. It is older than stars, older than galaxies, older than the light that lets you see. There is a calmness in knowing that something so ancient surrounds you. It humbles the urgency of human time. We hurry through hours and decades, while these particles glide unaltered through billions of years. To them, our whole history is a flicker, our civilizations a blink. And yet, here we are, conscious enough to wonder about them. That, wondering, you realize, is its own kind of visibility. Through our curiosity, the universe becomes aware of its hidden self. You think about how many things in life move unseen, yet hold everything together. Gravity, air, memory, love, thought, each invisible, each essential. Perhaps dark matter is simply another reminder that reality's strength lies not in what we can grasp, but in what we can trust without proof. You feel that trust settling in you now, as quiet and steady as gravity. The scientists continue to build new experiment satellites orbiting Earth, detectors sunk in Antarctic ice, arrays of sensors spread across the desert, each one a kind of ear pressed against the cosmic floor, listening for the footsteps of the unseen. Their patience is long because the question is vast. What is the universe made of? Maybe one day a signal will arrive, faint but unmistakable. Maybe it already has, buried in noise we haven't yet learned to interpret. Until then, the silence itself is part of the answer. It tells us that the universe still holds its secrets close, asking us to keep looking. Now open your mind's eye wider. Imagine Earth orbiting the sun circling the center of the Milky Way, and the Milky Way gliding through its dark halo. The entire solar system moves through the invisible stream at hundreds of kilometers per second. You are riding that flow like a swimmer carried by a deep, slow current. No resistance, no splash, just endless motion through unseen water. The stars around you appear still, but everything is moving. Everything is being carried. You pause in that thought, and a strange peace fills you. To exist is to be part of motion too vast to control, to belong to something invisible yet constant. The cosmos is not a stage upon which you stand. It is an ocean in which you drift, alive with unseen tides. And dark matter is the soft gravity that keeps the waves coherent, the still rhythm behind the endless change. You breathe again, slower this time. Each inhale feels larger, as though space itself enters your chest. You feel the invisible currents passing through, and for a heartbeat, the boundary between you and the universe dissolves. There is no separation on the continuity. You are not outside the cosmos looking in. You are part of its invisible structure, a ripple in the same field that holds galaxies together. And as that realization settles, you begin to sense the next mystery calling the opposite force of the one that binds. If dark matter gathers, what is it that expands? What unseen energy breathes the universe wider with each passing second? The thought glimmers at the edge of your awareness, a promise, a continuation. You rest there, weightless in the invisible sea, knowing that even in the unseen you are held. Dark matter flows through you, steady as breath, and you float quietly in its embrace, a small, luminous awareness suspended inside an endless, invisible universe.